Hey, so today I'm going to talk about, well, it goes in line with the mixtapes that I talked about last time, but I wanted to address how hip hop artists are looked at in the informal media economy book that we're reading. I didn't like the job that it did about talking about 50 Cent and Jay-Z. It sort of did some justice to Jay-Z, mentioning a little bit of how Rockefeller Records was started, but doesn't do nearly justice to the story at all. It's quite interesting how that happens and how reasonable doubt occurs in the recording sessions with Notorious B.I.G. and all that, being important to the mystique of the album selling. But and it also does a very poor job of describing 50 Cent as an entrepreneur at all. It also only mentions his criminal sort of side, but doesn't mention that before he was a major label artist, he was making very good money, um, low seven, millions of dollars, like a couple million off of his mixtapes that he was putting out at the time that actually got him signed to Shady Aftermath, got him international touring. There's always stories of Wild G Units touring off these mixtapes that they're doing, and Tony Yayo has warrants out for him, and they're touring in the Bahamas. So it really did a poor job addressing that, but in the way that one of the people that I've been listening to lately, that was a huge entrepreneur. He made a lot of money on the informal economy selling tapes, like physical tapes, and drove. He really defined the Houston hip hop scene as DJ Screw. He was active from 1994 to 2000. Um, full names, Robert Earl Davis Jr. So he'd put out, he invented what's called screw music, where the music's slowed down, chopped, mixed a certain way. It sounds really fantastic, especially if you're in a certain mind state. Um, so this is the kind of music that it's still influential today. We know what purple drink and lean are. These have become common words in pop culture, basically. I'm 23, and anybody my age knows what these are, and this is the scene that it emerges from. But he did over 300 mixtapes in his lifetime. He actually died because of the codeine stuff, but and he would sell these. He became very influential. He'd put on a wide variety of artists who are still active today. Some of the artists who became popular: Fat Pat, Big Hawk, Lil Keke, Lil O, Big Pokey, Zero, Big Mo, ESG, Lil Flip, Trey the Truth. UGK was affiliated also, Bun B and Pimp C. UGK became major label artists, but the other ones were all pretty well independent. And when they were active at that time, they could sell like Lil Keke, Lil O, Fat Pat, Big Pokey. They all put out albums that sold over 20,000 records independently. So we're talking $10, $15 a pop, all to the artists at the time. So it's fairly decent money that they were making, all off basically just the Texas area. Um, it was pretty unique, and still influential, because some of these artists are still going today. Sadly, Fat Pat, Big Hawk, Big Mo has passed away. Um, Pimp C from UGK has also passed away. So all pretty well either Fat Pat and Big Hawk were gun related, the other two drug related. Um, but yeah, they all made a lot of money independently at the time, and then they still managed to become very influential in the culture later. We saw the Houston hip hop scene become popular in 2004, starts 2005, 2006, really takes off, and it continues on, um, because that's really the start of when the Southern music becomes popular, as we see like Lil Jon and the Atlanta crunk vibe starts it, and that's where it picks up and becomes a little more legitimate. Um, a little less focus on the lyrics and heavy beats and knocking beats, but it was better than the crunk stuff. So yeah, we you see a shift that occurs 5 years after the man dies. He made millions of dollars as well off of his independent tapes, but and then the DJ Screw store is still set up in Southside Houston. You can still pick up the hundreds of tapes there. They still are sold online. Occasionally we still get some music that's found, put out, and a lot of those artists, yeah, they're still active. So it's really interesting to see what you can do in the informal media economy that way, um, and that truly talented artists and people eventually will get recognized. Articles have been written about him. All of his material was DJ Screw's material, notes, whatever, were pulled, and they're sitting in, I believe it's the University of Houston now. Um, so it's interesting to see what artists can do and when it gets recognized, and what you can do without major label support. So thank you very much and have a good one.